In today's video, we are going to zero in on a very, very specific issue with the USS Fitzgerald to highlight the details of this not being just some random accident. Now, in case anybody's new to the channel, real quick, we have been talking about since last June the issue with the USS Fitzgerald, the USS Lake Champlain, and the USS John S. McCain, and the suspicious circumstances surrounding these quote-unquote accidents as reported by the Navy. Now, we have shown beyond the shadow of any real reasonable doubt that this is something other than what the Navy has told us. We're doing this in order to honor the memory of these sailors, because it was put out by the Navy that the reason for these accidents was some lack of attention to detail on the part of these sailors. And given what we know now about the proximity to these undersea cables that the Russians seem to have designs on, it is more than a coincidence that they were near this. So the issue today goes to the press conference. Now, I will say this again about this guy. He served with distinction as a fighter pilot in the Navy. I don't think this was a good fit for him, public relations or command. And as a result of the events of this past summer, he has been relieved. I'm not going to go through this, but if you go through and you watch this, now with the light of what we know, you see some very strange comments and strange words. This was one of them right here, and I'm just going to play it real quick for you.
To save the ship, and they were able to bring it back yesterday on its own power back here to Yokosuka, and you can see the ship behind me.
で今皆さん船の方をご覧いただけると思いますけれども、彼らの働きによりまして船は自力で航行ができまして横須賀に戻ってくることができました。
So the ship and the crew, they performed as we expected, very professionally. They were able to bring.
As we expected. They performed as we expected is a very strange choice of words there. Now, I'm not and never have been a giant fan of the idea of false flag, but that is a very, very weird way to phrase that. They performed as we expected. I have also up here a link. This is actually the Commander U.S. 7th Fleet. This is a transcript of the prepared remarks they had all ready to go the next day, which also seems very strange given the detail level here. And the fact that they had these prepared remarks ready to go 3 separate times, misstating the time of the accident, seems strange. When you don't call a press conference about something unless you are in command of the facts. The Navy, the military in general, isn't required to give press conferences to anybody. Why they even had one, that's what made me, this was actually the very first thing that got me down the road with the Fitzgerald. We were talking about South and Central America when this happened. And when I saw this, I'm like, this guy's lying. This guy's absolutely lying. Something else is going on here. So, but anyway, the very specific issue beyond this that I wanted to cover today is the first line here. It says, local time, 17 June, approximately 56 nautical miles off the coast of Honshu, Japan. Amongst many other mistakes that they put out in these reports, I was unaware what they were talking about with Honshu, Japan. I'm just not studied up on Asia. Honshu apparently is the big island of Japan, the mainland of Japan. I was looking for a city. What they mean to say here is 56 nautical miles from Yokosuka. That's where this happened, from the actual naval base. This was just probably a transcript problem. But it just goes to the lack of attention to detail that we've shown in other videos that you can go find where we talked about the report from last summer. So anyway, so that's what I did here, 56 nautical miles. And that's, of course, where this is. And we've gone to the ship tracker before, and I found a very neat little function on this. And this is the bend in that submarine cable where this happened. Down here, and you can do this for yourself if you want to, there's this little guy you can click, and it pops up these two little points, and it'll tell you the distance and heading between the 2 points. Now, the reason I'm doing this is to show you something. Okay, now this is from the report. Okay, the Fitz was at this time, let me get this right, at 0125 hours, the officer of the deck noticed Crystal rapidly getting closer and considered a turn to 240 true. At this time, he was on a course of 190. Okay, and you can see that up in, let me get this right, here we go, 0054. Fitzgerald altered course to 190 while remaining at 20 knots. This is from the Navy report. This is what they're telling us the course of the ship was. Now, back to the ship tracker. Watch this. If I put this at this bend, right here, make sure I have this right. I think the red one. Nope, I have it backward. Give me 1 second here. But this will show you clearly and definitively they were following this cable. Okay, now this is about 199 right here. But to get this at 190 would be about right here. So as you can see, this is really darn close. And these representations on this map are general. But one thing that's not, if you look at this right here, and click this, this is almost exactly 240. Now, what are the odds that the direction of the travel of this ship would be almost exactly along this line, and at this event, he would have been considering a turn that mirrored exactly the track of the cable? At the right location where this happened. It's just beyond coincidence. And when we go back to the report, we'll go down to where this happened. And this was one of the most confusing things about this. 0127, the officer of the deck, after having considering, at 125, considering a turn to 240 true, which was probably his mission to stay on that cable, the officer of the deck ordered course to the right to course 240 true, but rescinded the order within a minute, realizing, of course, that he was being intercepted. Instead, the officer of the deck ordered an increase to full speed and a rapid turn to port. These orders were not carried out. That is a very, very strange thing. The only person that could have countermanded the officer of the deck would have been someone perhaps from naval intelligence aboard, or someone who they're not telling us something about what happened here. The bosun mate of the watch, a more senior supervisor on the bridge, took over the helm and executed the orders. And here it says, as of 0130, neither Fitzgerald nor Crystal made an attempt to establish radio communication or sound the danger signal. How in the hell could they have known that about the Crystal? Because the captain himself said that he tried to, of the Crystal. So either the Navy is lying here, which we've established, they have been very loose with the facts, or something else going on. So anyway, just wanted to cover this issue very specifically to show you that beyond the shadow of any doubt, this is what was going on in the case of the Fitzgerald. From the Navy report, we see that the ship was tracking right along here at 190 and then considered a turn and made an order to turn directly along the path of this cable and then rescinded it and gave another order, but that order wasn't followed. So the Navy is hiding something, and I think we know what it is. So I appreciate it. 10 minutes. Didn't want to go over that too much today, but like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for the support. We'll see you next time.